Hello everyone, peace be upon you. Before we begin, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and stay with me until the end of the story. Also, leave a comment telling me which city and country you're watching from. I'd love to see how far my story has reached. For those of you who have already subscribed, I sincerely wish you good health, ease in all your affairs, abundant blessings, and may all your hopes and dreams come true. Amen. Now, let's begin the story. The hangar at Fort Ridgefield Air Base hummed with the usual morning noise, compressors coughing awake, tool carts rattling, boots thudding over concrete. Wyoming air cut cold and clean through the open doors, bringing the thin smell of jet fuel and damp metal. Dana Whitmore moved like she belonged to that air. Her flight suit was zipped high, sleeves neat, boots laced tight. She didn't talk much. She didn't need to. People noticed the way she checked a panel with one glance and knew if something was off by a hair. People also noticed she never bragged about it. Braddock watched her from beside the weapons locker, arms crossed, jaw working like he had something to say but wanted you to ask first. "You logged those sim hours I assigned?" he asked finally. "Logged. Reviewed. Corrected," Dana said. Calm, even. She placed a clipboard on the bench and started wiping carbon grime from a training rifle, not because she needed to, but because quiet work kept the day smooth. Luke Patterson strolled up with that easy grin of someone not old enough to hate mornings yet. "Sarge says your grouping at 100 is too pretty. He's jealous." Braddock shot him a look. Luke cleared his throat and busied himself with a box of ear protection. Dana didn't smile, but something in her eyes softened. She wasn't there to be liked. She was there because staying sharp made sense. Across the floor, a door opened and let in a stripe of cold light. Colonel Nathan Cross stepped in without fanfare, coat unbuttoned, cap tucked under his arm. He carried the kind of quiet the room obeyed. He walked a slow line past the jets, past the taped safety marks, and stopped when he reached Dana. "Whitmore," he said, voice low. "You keeping yourself busy or hiding from trouble?" "Same result either way, sir," she said. He glanced at the range board, at her perfect scores that never came with any commentary. "We're short on instructors this quarter. Hours are flexible. No speeches. Just flying and teaching." Braddock snorted. "She's logistics on paper, sir." "Paper burns," Cross said, not looking at him. Then to Dana, "Think about it." She said nothing, but Cross had seen pilots say nothing before. He left the offer hanging like a runway light in fog. Rumors moved through a base faster than any vehicle. By chow, someone had whispered that General Hensley was on site. By afternoon, folks swore they'd seen him near the tower, hands behind his back, watching sorties with that heavy, unreadable stare. Hensley didn't visit for casual hellos. He was the kind of man who measured a room with one look and found the weak rivet. Dana finished the day on the range, the wind flicking grit into her hair. 10 rounds, steady breath, clean trigger, holes clustering so tight they erased each other. Luke said, "Dang," under his breath. Braddock said nothing at all, which was its own admission. Back in Bozeman that night, the world shrank to a one-bedroom apartment and the soft hiss of the heater. Snow had crept down the mountains and settled along roofs like a steady hand. Dana hung her flight suit on a hook, set her boots side by side, and poured coffee she didn't need. On the bookshelf sat a small stack of photos turned face down. She didn't touch them. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She let it ring out. Then a text, "Cross here." Not a sales pitch. Kids need someone who doesn't flinch. Sleep on it. She set the phone down and stood by the window. The street was quiet. A plow rolled by, orange light circling, clearing the night like a slow promise. She pictured the airfield at first light, jets lined like steel arrows. She pictured nothing else. That was the point. Morning came gray and dry. At Fort Ridgefield, Braddock ran drills that left shirts damp and tempers short. Again, he barked, and they did. Dana didn't complain. She ran the course with the same economy she used for everything, one step, one breath, one decision at a time. Luke kept pace until he didn't. He hit the last wall, slipped in the dust, and swore. Dana offered a palm and a plain look. He took it, climbed, and finished without another word. Later he said, "Thanks," like it cost something. She shook her head. "Don't say sorry to the ground," she said. "It doesn't care." The weather brief called for clear skies, but the wind had a stubborn edge. Pilots felt that sort of thing before instruments confirmed it. Dana filed the sensation away. Out on the tarmac, an airliner crossed high overhead, a moving dot against winter blue, contrails thin and pale. Luke tracked it with a finger. "Midland gets our diversions when Amarillo's stacked," he said, repeating something he'd heard in a break room. "Midland gets whatever the sky gives," Dana said. Cross found her near the tool cage. He didn't waste time. "I know what you are," he said softly. "I know because I've signed orders with that look in mind. You don't like attention. Good. The air doesn't care about fame either. But these kids need a voice that stays level when alarms don't. I'm not teaching fairy tales," Dana said. "Teach them to breathe. That'll do." Hensley appeared later like a change in pressure. He said nothing to her, only passed within arm's length and let his gaze touch the patch on her sleeve. Falcon. The word wasn't spoken, but it lived in the space between steps. She felt the old weight stir, not as a wound, not yet, just as a memory that knew her name. That evening, the base cafeteria sounded like metal trays and tired jokes. Braddock sat with his usual men, complaints folded into humor. Luke hovered at the edge of Dana's table with 2 cups. "One's black," he said. "Took a guess." She took the cup. "You guess a lot. Only when it's safe. Guess less." He grinned, sat anyway, and kept quiet long enough to earn the seat. Outside, wind ran low over the field. The sun fell early, cold light dying behind the hangars. Dana finished her coffee, rinsed the cup, and walked the line of jets before locking up for the night. She touched the skin of one trainer with the back of her fingers, a pilot's small superstition. The metal held the day's warmth for a second, then gave it up. On the drive back to Bozeman, the highway cut through dark pasture and fence posts. Radio off. Wipers slow. She let the silence spread and didn't fight it. Quiet had taught her more than noise ever did. Somewhere past the county line, a billboard flashed weather advisories for the southern states, storm cells building, winds shearing, airports bracing. She watched the word scroll and thought nothing of it, then. Storms belonged to other people's problems until they didn't. At home she folded laundry with the same care she gave a pre-flight. Neat stacks. Sharp corners. The kind of order that kept the mind from wandering too far into rooms it didn't want to revisit. The phone buzzed a second time. "Cross again, last ask. 2 mornings a week. We'll keep your name out of the briefings. The kids will know your voice. That's enough." Dana typed, paused, deleted, then typed again. "We'll try it." She set the phone down and exhaled. Outside, fresh snow softened the curbs and turned the streetlights into halos. Somewhere, a siren wailed and faded. She closed the curtains and sat at the small table with a pen she hadn't used in months. On a blank card, she wrote a single word in a steady hand, "Yes." Before bed, she checked the weather without thinking why. Midland showed rain. Texas rain could turn heavy fast. She logged the forecast, closed the tab, and killed the lamp. The room went dark. The kind of dark that carries its own sound. She lay back and watched the ceiling until it blurred, not chasing sleep, not running from it either. In the quiet, the sky felt closer than the roof. Some people called that loneliness. Pilots called it home, and that night home lived 30,000 feet above Texas as rain hammered aluminum and the cabin lights flickered. Dana sat in 14A with a paperback open and her mind half on the weather page she checked before bed. The jet shivered, a deep, tired tremor that ran through the floorboards into her boots. A baby cried. Overhead bins ticked as plastic flexed. Then the captain's voice came over the speakers, steady but stretched thin at the edges. Ladies and gentlemen, we're encountering severe weather. Please remain seated. The seatbelt sign dinged on, and a flight attendant moved down the aisle bracing on headrests, her smile good, her eyes worried. Another drop, sharper. Dana felt the old math start by itself: altitude, rate of descent, crosswind, energy state. She closed the book. Out the window she saw a wash of dark cloud, no visible horizon, just streaks of rain slanting like wires. The engine note wavered. Not good. A minute passed. 2. Then the intercom again, voice tighter now. If there are any qualified pilots on board, a beat. Any military fighter pilots, please make yourself known. The cabin went very still. Heads turned in small jerks, like birds. Dana raised her hand to the aisle and met the attendant's look. I'm coming forward, she said. No drama. No speech. The galley door swung and heat from the avionics hit her. The cockpit smelled like hot plastic and coffee. Captain Eric Malone had both hands on the yoke. His co-pilot rode the trim and scanned a panel that looked like a bad Christmas, greens and ambers arguing, one ugly red blinking on the hydraulic page. One engine's weak, he said. Autopilot dropped twice. Wind shear warning won't shut up. Dana strapped into the jump seat, clipped the belt, and let her voice slow the room. I'm Dana Whitmore. Former fighter. I can assist. The captain nodded once, like a man who didn't have time for pride. Take radios, he said. I'll fly. She tuned the approach frequency. Center, this is commercial flight declaring an emergency. We have partial hydraulics and asymmetric thrust. The controller came back calm, the way good ones do. Vectors rolled in. Expect straight in to Midland Regional. Wind 207 at 28, gusting 35. Visibility 1 mile, heavy rain. Dana looked at the captain. He didn't blink. We ride it, he said. We ride it down the middle. The jet hit a pocket that flung them a foot and dropped them 2. The co-pilot swore under his breath. Dana killed the oral warning. Noise kills judgment, she said. We know the cautions. Fly the airplane. She worked the checklists fast, short, clean. Thrust management shifted to the good engine. Manual spoilers armed. Flaps staged. The captain fought the yaw, small moves, no panic. She's mushy, he said. She'll float if we get greedy. Then don't, Dana said. Shallow. Let her talk. Static crackled. New voice. Falcon, that you? A fighter escort slid into the edge of radar coverage, 2 F-22s on patrol that caught their squawk. Dana didn't let the name hit her. We appreciate the company, she said. Stay high and pretty. The fighter lead chuckled once, thin across rain. Bring them home. They broke under the worst of the cell. Lightning still walked the sky above, but the air steadied. Dana called the cabin. We're on final soon. Stay seated. Breathe. She kept talking, not for drama, for rhythm. Humans fly better on rhythm. Speed 190. Flaps 1. The co-pilot set them. Trim right 2. Trim right 2. Localizer alive. Alive. Glide slope armed. Armed. The runway lights came and went in gray curtains, like ghosts. Captain Malone's jaw worked. You want it? Dana asked. He shook his head. She's mine. Then I'm your mirror, she said. I'll call it 500. Stable. 400. Left drift 2. Corrected. 300. On slope. 200. Winds gusting. Guard your rudder. Guarding. 100. Eyes to the end. 50. Flare. Wheels hit with a heavy hiss and a long, wet growl. Reverse came up on the left engine only. The airplane wanted to weather vane, but the captain held it straight with feet and a prayer that sounded like breathing. They slowed, slower, slow. Stopped. Silence flooded the cockpit like a second atmosphere. Then a roar rose from behind the door, cheers, sobs, the awkward laugh people make when the ground is under them again. The captain sagged back and stared at the panel like it had told a joke he finally understood. I thought we were gone, he whispered. Dana unbuckled. You flew the landing, she said. You kept it clean. He shook his head. Only because you kept me from listening to the wrong noise. She almost smiled. That's the job. Emergency trucks painted the rain red and blue. Paramedics hustled stairs to the door. In the cabin, a woman grabbed Dana's sleeve and said thank you 3 times too fast. A kid held up a drawing of a plane with blocky wings. The attendant hugged her and stepped back, eyes glassy, professional again. Dana moved through it like weather, felt, not held. Outside, water ran in sheets off the fuselage. The air tasted like rubber and relief. Hours later, inside the quiet of Midland's terminal, a paper cup of coffee warmed her hands without warming her. Captain Malone sat beside her with that empty, bright look people get after they've survived something the body hasn't finished believing. They'll want our statements, he said. They'll want data, profiles, timelines. They can have them, Dana said. The sky can't be printed anyway. He studied her. You were too calm. Practice, she said. He nodded like that was an answer, and maybe it was. Her phone buzzed. A message from Nathan Cross slid across the screen as if he'd been in the jump seat too. You did what you do. Come home. The escort pilot texted a single word from an unknown number, respect. A reporter pressed a card into her palm and missed it when she let it fall to the floor. Dawn smudged the windows. The storm thinned to a gray smear over the far end of the tarmac. Dana stood and watched a service truck trundle past, slow and sure, doing its small job in a big world. She breathed once, deep and even, and felt the old engine inside her turn over clean. The thing she'd shut down had lit itself without her permission. She didn't fight it. She didn't name it. She only knew that the quiet she lived in had changed shape. The sky hadn't asked. It had reminded. And reminders have a way of following you home, and by the time Dana drove back into Bozeman, they were sitting in the passenger seat like they'd paid for the ride. She showered, changed, and drove north before the sun cleared the ridge. Fort Ridgefield woke cold and bright. Cross was on the ramp with a clipboard and a thin smile that said less talk, more work. Welcome back, he said. 2 mornings a week. Start now. She nodded once. No handshake, no speech. He didn't need either. Braddock watched from the shade of a Humvee, arms crossed. He didn't crack a joke. Luke jogged over with a helmet tucked under his arm. Heard about Midland, he said, too fast. Everyone heard. Dana gave him the look that means breathe. He breathed. Cross handed out the plan. Intercept drills for the class, emergency procedures on the hour, simulator time after chow. A new name joined the roster, Lieutenant Ava Monroe. She stood straight, eyes steady, flight suit clean the way new is clean. No swagger. Good sign. Monroe, you're with me, Dana said. They walked the jet slow, hands on metal, checklist done out loud, no shortcuts. You don't fight the sky, Dana said. You work with it. If you feel fear, breathe through it. Panic is a bad co-pilot. Ava didn't nod like a fan. She wrote the words down like work. Better sign. First sortie ran clean. Ava held formation without yanking, took cues without chatter, and called her own corrections. Luke overshot once and tried to laugh it off. Dana didn't laugh. Fix it, she said. He fixed it. By late morning clouds built in thin stacks off the mountains. The air felt bumpy but honest. They broke for chow. Braddock slid a tray down across from Dana. You make a good ghost, he said. People say they saw you in a cockpit. Report says no names. Good, Dana said. Kids need stories, he tried. They need procedures, she answered. He chewed, said nothing. Hensley walked through the mess like a weather front. Conversations dipped. He didn't stop at any table. On his way out, his eyes hit the patch on Dana's sleeve again, then moved on. Cross showed up 5 minutes later and dropped a folder. Public affairs will try to call. I told them to lose your number, he said. We're here to teach. Dana pushed the folder back. Then let's teach. Afternoon brought Sims. Engine failures. Partial panel. Unreliable airspeed. Ava flew the silence well. Luke tried to fix 3 problems at once and drowned in noise. Dana killed 2 screens and forced his hands still. One thing at a time, she said. Fly the airplane first. Talk later. He nodded, cheeks hot, then got it right on the next run. Near dusk, tower called out on ground frequency. Any available assets, be advised, civilian twin prop west of the ridge reporting engine failure, low altitude, fuel critical. Cross met Dana's eyes across the bay. He didn't order. He didn't need to. We're closest, she said. Ava, gear up. Braddock started to speak. Cross cut him off with a palm. She has it. They were wheels up in minutes, trainers knifing into the copper light. Air band was crowded with tension. The distressed pilot sounded young and brittle. Left engine's gone. Right's hot. I'm dropping. Dana slid to his left, close enough to see a white knuckle on a yoke. This is a military flight at your 9 o'clock, she said. Look at me. You're not alone. Reduce throttle on the good engine a hair. Counter with right rudder. Gentle. The nose stopped wobbling. The pilot sobbed once, then swallowed it. Okay, he said. Okay. Ava held high and back, watching for traffic and wires. Nearest runway? Dana asked. Tower read off Cedar Valley Regional, 10 miles. Dana glanced at the sink rate, the ground creeping up, the thin fuel. He won't make it, she said. Road slid under them in clean gray lines. She picked a straight piece of Highway 285 fast and flat, emergency lights already blooming as state police started blocking lanes. We're landing you on the highway, Dana said. Long, shallow. Flaps half. Keep your nose alive. Eyes forward. On a road, the pilot squeaked. On a road, she said, steady as a metronome. You want a runway, imagine white lines. That's your centerline. Wind nudged. Dana took the nudge out with words and small numbers. Pitch 2 down. Good. Don't chase the air. Let it come to you. Ava fed updates. Traffic stopped. Bridge in 1 mile. You need it down before the bridge. Copy, Dana said. You're doing fine, she told the kid. You feel fast because the ground is close. Trust your hands. Breathe. The plane settled, tires kissed asphalt with a scream you could feel in your teeth, bounced once, then stuck. Brakes smoked. It rolled. It slowed. It stopped between a pickup and a sheriff's Tahoe. Silence hit like soft cloth. "Say your tail number," Dana said. He did. She repeated it to Tower with the words safe and on the ground. Ava exhaled into the mic and didn't realize it was hot. "Sorry," she said. "Don't be," Dana said. Back at base, people acted like nothing happened because that's how you live to fly tomorrow. Braddock stood by the ladder when Dana climbed down. He didn't offer a hand. He didn't need to. "Highway," he said, almost a laugh. "Highway," she said. Luke jogged up, eyes wide. "You landed a guy on a road." "He landed himself," Dana said. "We kept the noise off him." Cross waited in ops with 2 mugs of burnt coffee. "You keep this up, the FAA will send us fruit baskets and fines," he said. She smirked. "They can keep the baskets." Hensley stepped in a beat later. He closed the door with a slow hand and stood with his back to it. "You're not hiding anymore," he said. It wasn't praise. It wasn't a threat. It was gravity. "I'm working," Dana said. "Good," Hensley said. "Work saves lives. But ghosts come with it. Iron Wing didn't make you. It showed you what you already were. Don't let the past write your checklist." She didn't answer. Cross did. "She won't," he said. Hensley held Dana's eyes another second, then left. Night settled clean and cold. The class filtered out with low voices and bright eyes. Ava lingered. "Ma'am," she said, awkward with the word. "You didn't flinch today." "You will," Dana said. "Everyone does. The trick is to breathe before you move." Ava nodded, filed it, and left. In the locker room, Dana sat on a bench while the heater ticked and cooled. Her hands were steady. That surprised her a little. She zipped her bag and found Cross outside under a floodlight, the cone of brightness making their breath visible. "Tomorrow?" he asked. "Tomorrow," she said. On the drive home the radio stayed off. The highway was dry and dark and simple. She passed a billboard that warned of high winds across the plains and thought of a road in New Mexico lit by red and blue, a kid with a white-knuckle grip, and a voice that didn't raise because it didn't need to. She pulled into Bozeman late, locked the door, and stood at the window with the town quiet around her. The sky over the ridge looked like a blank page. She didn't try to read it. She only knew she would be back on the ramp before sunrise, because reminders don't just follow you home, they write your schedule if you let them. And she was starting to let them, which is why Dana was on the ramp before dawn, breath fogging under the floodlights while the mountains cut a black sawtooth against a slate sky. The air had that thin, brittle bite that says the day will start calm and end with its teeth out. Cross handed her the day's board, formation refresh in the morning, intercepts by noon, weather window closing mid-afternoon. "If it turns," he said, "we bring them home early." "Copy," she said. Braddock muttered something about rookies needing wind in their faces. Dana didn't bite. Ava ran up with her helmet and that controlled energy that good students learn early. Luke trailed, trying to keep his jokes from spilling in the cold. The first hops were clean. Ava flew tight without clinging, backed off without losing the picture. Luke kept his spacing like he'd taped it to the canopy. By late morning, the horizon looked tired. High cirrus drifted like chalk smears, and a low smear of gray sat hard on the western ridge. The tower called gusts building in steps. Cross's voice came on discreet. "One more evolution, execute and knock it off." Dana acknowledged. "Ava, set up the intercept. We're bracket 2. Keep your scan wide. If the air lies to you, correct, don't argue." They climbed into the work block, the light flattening, the wind getting teeth. The bogey rolled in, another trainer flown by a pair of instructors playing bad guy, and the dance began. Calls were crisp. The geometry made sense. Then the ridge burped a curl of rotor wind that slammed the air like a door. Dana felt it in the shoulder bones before the jet twitched. Heads up, she said calm, the way you say your own name. Ridge is throwing punches. Ava's copy was steady, but Dana heard the tightness one layer down. She slid to a cover position, eyes cutting between the sight picture and the trim wheel. The bogey jinked low. Ava chased a hair low with it. Not much. Enough. The rotor slapped again, harder, and Ava's jet fell a handful of knots. You're bleeding, Dana said. Ease, don't yank. Copy, Ava said, lighter now, the way people sound when gravity has questions. Luke started to step on the radio. Dana heard the lean-in breath, and stopped himself. Good. One voice at a time. Then instruments hiccuped. Just a blink. Enough to make the needles twitch and the stomach say liar. Ava's tone thinned. I've got a flicker. Ignore it. Feel the air, Dana said. Wings level. Nose alive. The bogey rolled away, playtime over, but the ridge wasn't done. A downwash punched the underside of Ava's wing and threw the jet toward a shallow, ugly sink. Dana saw the picture go from almost okay to not yet bad to oh no you don't in 2 heartbeats. She had a choice, call knock it off and let the student claw alone, or close the distance and risk getting in the same soup to pull her out with words. Stay on me, she told Cross on discreet. I'm going in. Your call, he said. No theater. Just trust. Dana slid into position where Ava could see her canopy corner. I'm your horizon, she said. Forget the panel. Eyes outside. Ava's breathing ticked hot in the mic, feels mushy. It is. Small moves. 2 up on the nose. Count with me. 1, 2. The jet steadied and lied in the same breath, the way rough air does. The rotor curled them again and the airspeed tape spit a number Dana didn't like. Don't chase the tape, she said. Pitch beats fear. Trim it. Good. She trimmed her own bird 2 clicks and kept herself where Ava's eyes could grab her like a handrail. The sink didn't love that plan. It dug fingers into both jets and dragged. The ridge lifted fast in the windscreen, not a wall yet, but interested. Luke's voice ghosted hot again. Dana cut it with a single word. Hold. He held. The trick, she told herself, was the same trick as always. Breathe before you move. She said it out loud. Breathe. Ava matched her. You could hear it. Now bank 2 right, no, smaller, good. Don't fight the gust, round its corner. They were losing the fight slowly. Slow is still losing. Dana weighed the ugly options. Punch out the student's confidence with an early bailout and make this a cautionary tale, or teach the thing you can't print in a manual. She chose the second because the sky would ask again one day when she wasn't there. New plan, Dana said, voice level as a countertop. We're going to steal energy. On my mark, I'll dip us a hair to buy speed, then we trade the speed for climb. It'll feel wrong. It's right. You ready? A beat. Ready, Ava said. Mark. Nose 1 down, feel it bite, now pull 1.5, hold, good. Again. The wind sneered. The ridge stepped closer and then, by inches, started to back away. Again, Dana said. Count it. 1, 2, Ava said, voice steadier. Good. Now clean up your feet, you're dragging a toe. Fixed. Copy. The panel flickered again and came back bored with them. The sink let go in a ragged peel. Altitude came back like money owed. Dana eased them to a kinder slice of sky and let silence hold just long enough for the hands to stop shaking. Then she called it. Knock it off. We're done. Bring it home. Cross answered with a breath more than a word. Braddock's voice didn't come at all. They landed in a crosswind that wanted a headline. Dana made it read like a memo instead. On the ramp, Luke went to say 20 things and settled on 2. Nice work. Ava took her helmet off with hands that wanted to prove something and didn't need to. I thought it had me, she said simply. It almost did, Dana said. That's not a sin. It's a lesson. In ops, Cross set 2 mugs down and no one talked for a minute. Hensley walked in as if drawn by barometric pressure. He stood, not looming, just present. You changed the plan midstream, he said. Yes, sir, Dana answered. Because the plan met weather. Hensley's mouth made almost a smile. Iron Wing taught that once. We buried the name, not the truth. You did what that program hoped people would do without it. He looked at Ava. You kept your head when the sky asked for it. Ava nodded like the remark was heavy and fit. Braddock cleared his throat, words rough from disuse. I was wrong, he said to Dana, not looking at his boots and not looking away. You're not here to be folklore. No, she said. I'm here to make sure folklore isn't written about anyone under my watch. The debrief ran quiet and clean. They walked the decisions without hero words. They rewrote 2 lines in the syllabus because paper should learn, too. Luke stayed after and asked the right question. How'd you know to dip first when everything in you wants to climb? Dana drank the last of cold coffee. Because want and need aren't the same, she said. Air is a language. You don't shout at it when you're scared. You speak softer and closer. When the room emptied, Cross leaned against the doorframe. Arlington called again, he said. They want you on a panel, maybe a keynote. You can say no. Dana looked past him at the darkening field. The wind tugged at the flag, less angry now, just restless. I won't talk about programs, she said. Talk about breathing, he said. That's what they need. She stepped outside into air that smelled like cold metal and dust, the kind of after-weather smell that feels like relief you can hold. Lights along the taxiway blinked their patient rhythm. Ava crossed the ramp with Luke, both of them walking like people who've learned something that won't fit on a patch. Braddock checked tie-downs and didn't raise his voice. Hensley vanished the way front lines do when they've passed. On the drive home, the sky over the ridge bruised purple and then softened to blue. Dana let the quiet sit in the passenger seat again. It didn't feel like an intruder this time. It felt like a partner who'd stopped trying to win every argument. At a red light, she watched snow dust spin in the glow and thought about the moment you choose to lean into the thing that scares you because the person behind you needs to see how. Tomorrow would be procedures and checklists and a dozen tiny decisions no one writes down. Tonight was the breath after the storm. She took it, slow and full, and the road unrolled ahead like a calm promise she knew better than to trust, and chose to accept anyway. She chose to accept anyway, and the next morning acceptance looked like coffee at dawn, a frost-lined ramp, and a schedule that said procedures first, pride never. Cross met Dana outside ops with a folder under his arm. Arlington wants an answer, he said. Panel at minimum. Keynote if you'll have it. She eyed the folder like it might bite. I'll talk, she said. About breathing, not banners. He nodded. Good. That's what they keep forgetting. Braddock arrived early and didn't bark. He checked tie-downs, ran a finger along a hinge, and came over with a plain look. You were right yesterday, he said. The ridge owned the plan. You owned the response. Dana didn't make it bigger than it was. Weather teaches, she said. We listen. He gave a short nod that counted as respect in his language and went to warm up the line. The morning's brief was tight. Engine out procedures. Unreliable instruments. Task saturation and when to say knock it off. Dana kept it straight, no war stories, no drama. You don't earn hero points for solving 3 problems at once, she told the room. You earn survivors by flying the airplane first. Luke wrote hard, lines too dark on the paper like he was trying to etch the lesson into the page. Ava sat forward with hands folded and eyes steady. They flew clean sorties in air that behaved for once. Ava's formation work looked like it had gears now, no jerks, no glued-on bravado, just small, correct moves. Luke tried to overcorrect twice and then caught himself early. In the debrief, Dana pointed at the timeline. See where you wanted to chase the drift? You felt late, so you got loud with the stick. You don't need loud. You need early. Luke nodded, face open with the kind of humility that doesn't apologize, it learns. Hensley came by at lunch and leaned on the doorframe like the building belonged to him. Public Affairs is asking for a statement on Midland, he said. I told them the crew landed the airplane and procedures worked. Dana kept her tone even. That's the truth. It is, he said. But truth gets edited when it travels. If they ask about Iron Wing, tell them this: classification died, discipline didn't. We don't teach ghosts. We teach checklists and calm. She met his eyes. Yes, sir. He straightened, almost satisfied. Arlington will want medals on a slide. Give them breathing instead. Afternoon meant sims and repetition. Dana put Ava through failure trees until sweat darkened the flight suit under her collar. When the alt tape ran wild, Ava kept eyes outside and held wings level without being told. When the radio jammed with fake calls, she slowed her voice and trimmed before she talked. At the end, she pulled off the headset and exhaled. I didn't think I could like the silence, she said. You don't have to like it, Dana said. You just have to use it. Luke took the next slot and walked into his worst habit on purpose, doing too much. Dana killed screens, dim chatter, and handed him 5 seconds of nothing. That's your margin, she said. Guard it. He smiled like someone who just figured out where the tool drawer is. Copy. Word of Midland filtered back through the community, first as rumor, then as de-identified recordings, then as a lesson clip in a safety portal. Cross kept the spotlight pointed anywhere but Dana. She watched 2 younger instructors break down the callouts as if they were reading sheet music. That cadence, one of them said, tapping the table with a pen. You can teach that. Dana corrected him gently. You can earn it. Teaching just saves time. Near dusk, Cross slid a packet across the ops desk. Travel for Arlington, he said. It's not a trophy show. It's a room full of people who've all had their worst day and don't want another one. Dana flipped through the agenda, panels on decision-making under duress, fatigue, ATC coordination, training gaps. I'll keep it to the work, she said. Keep it to the breath, he answered. Braddock stopped by with a roll of tape and cleared his throat. I added a line to the syllabus, he said, awkward as a man changing a tire with an audience. Call it Whitmore rule: if your body wants to yank, breathe and move half. Dana read the line and gave him a small nod. Half is a lot, she said. Half keeps wings on. Ava caught Dana at the lockers. I've been running that count in my head, she said. 1, 2. It slows the panic down. It buys clarity, Dana said. Panic hates clarity. Ava looked like she wanted to ask something and decided to earn it instead. Thank you, she said. No extra words. Good choice. After hours, the ramp fell quiet and the cold grew honest. Hensley joined Dana by the fence and looked out at the taxiway lights ticking their steady metronome. You know what I remember about my worst landing? He asked. Dana waited. Not the touchdown. The breath before it. The part where I decided I'd rather be embarrassed than dead. He chuckled once, dry. Best choice I ever made. Good lesson, she said. Get them to make it earlier, he said. Preferably at altitude. Bozeman was a postcard on the drive home, porch lights, snow-lipped roofs, the quiet of people getting ready for dinners and bedtimes. Dana parked, carried her bag up the stairs, and set it down with the same care she gave a headset. She took the Arlington packet to the table and wrote a few lines on a yellow pad. No slogans. No ghosts. Just the pieces she wished someone had told her before her first real storm. Speak slow when your heart speeds up, don't fix everything, fix the airplane, cut the noise, trust the small moves, share the load, land long if you have to, live to debrief. Her phone buzzed, a group text from the class. Someone had posted a grainy shot of the highway landing from a local news clip, the caption just 3 words, "We learned why." Luke added, "Saved me from my own hands today." Ava replied with a thumbs up and then, after a beat, "Breathe before you move." Dana looked at the screen and felt the quiet settle in the room again, not empty now, just wide. Cross called once more, voice low with the sound of an office being shut down for the night. "You good?" he asked. "Good," she said. "I'm going to Arlington." "Figured," he said. "We'll cover here." "Braddock's not the same man he was last week." "None of us are," Dana said. She packed light, one suit, one pair of heels she'd rather not wear, a notebook, and a pen that wrote without scratching. She set the bag by the door and stood a while in the window's rectangle, watching flakes drift under the street lamp. The day had started with acceptance and was ending with something quieter than pride, steadier than relief. It felt like the right kind of weight. Before lights out, she opened the yellow pad and added one last line for the talk: "Courage isn't loud. It's a checklist you do when your hands are shaking." She capped the pen, closed the cover, and turned off the lamp. The room went dark in a friendly way. Out beyond the ridge, the sky was clear again, the kind of clean winter dark that doesn't pretend to be anything else. In the silence, she could almost hear taxiway lights counting time, each blink a reminder that tomorrow would ask for the same thing today had asked for: attention, patience, small honest decisions. She didn't promise the sky anything. She just breathed, and let the breath be the answer. She carried onto the plane to Arlington, a quiet yes that didn't need a microphone. Dana traveled light. The flight was uneventful, which felt like a gift. The hotel room faced a slab of winter sky and a glass building where badges flashed and people walked fast. She ironed the suit she didn't like and wrote 3 lines on a notepad: "Fly the airplane, cut the noise, breathe before you move." She slept in 10-minute pieces and woke steady anyway. The symposium hall was all glass and echoes. Uniforms mixed with airline blazers, lanyards everywhere. Cross had flown in the night before and met her at the side door. "Panel at 10, keynote at 3, he said. "No showmanship. Just talk like you do in the hangar." "That's the plan," she said. General Hensley stood with a cluster of officials near the stage. He caught her eye and gave one nod that meant do your job, nothing more. The panel went first. An accident investigator, a controller, a long-haul captain who'd ridden a microburst that turned a normal day into a story. They asked Dana about Midland. She didn't hand them drama. "The captain flew the landing," she said. "I kept him from listening to the wrong noise." The moderator smiled like he wanted more. She didn't give it. Questions about training, about simulators. "Make the sims loud," she said. "Then teach pilots how to make themselves quiet." She had an hour before the keynote. She found a quiet hallway with a low bench and watched people file through. A flight attendant stopped and thanked her for what you said to our side of the door. A young guard pilot asked how to slow his mouth when his heart won't. "Count out loud," she said. "It's ugly. It works." He repeated it like homework. At 3, the hall filled. Cameras found their lights. Dana walked to the lectern with a paper she didn't plan to read. She set it down flat and looked at the room. "I was asked to talk about courage," she said. "I don't have that speech. I have a checklist." A ripple of laughter that sounded like relief. On bad days, the sky throws 3 problems at you at once. Your job isn't to be a hero. Your job is to pick one, fix the airplane, and breathe before you move. She told them exactly what she wished someone had said to her as a young wingman. That panic sounds convincing. That instruments lie for a second in rough air. That silence beats shouting on the radio. No war story beats. No big finish. She ended with the 3 lines from her pad and a simple, thank you. Applause came like weather, strong, then done. After, a small ceremony. No band. A commendation in a thin frame. Hensley presented it without speeches. For doing the work, he said, just loud enough. Cross stood behind them with his arms folded, relief written in the set of his shoulders. In the hallway, Captain Eric Malone appeared out of the crowd, lighter suit, same eyes. They shook hands like people who share a secret no one needs to tell. He said, I sleep better now. She said, good. He added nothing else and that was enough. She flew back before dawn. Fort Ridgefield looked like itself, hard edges, honest wind, jets lined in patient rows. She put the frame in a locker behind a stack of logbooks and walked to the classroom with a whiteboard marker in her hand. 2 items, she told the room. Airspeed you don't trust. And when to say knock it off. Luke took the dry erase pen when she passed it and wrote, guard the 5 seconds, in big letters. That's your line, he said. Now it's yours, she answered. Ava sat up front, hands easy, eyes clear. She flew better now and talked less. Good trade. They went to the sim bay and broke things on purpose. When the panel flickered, Dana said, ignore it. When the wind model stole lift, she said, we'll buy speed and trade it. When a fake engine failed, she didn't let the pilot fix the fire before flying the wing. The lesson stacked without adjectives. Late afternoon, Braddock brought a small box to the break room and set it on the table like it weighed more than it did. From the class, he said. Inside, a simple pendant shaped like wings, stamped with 2 words, stay fearless. Dana looked at the stamp, then at the faces crowded in the doorway trying not to stare. Fear's fine, she said. We just don't let it drive. Ava smiled. Luke said, copy, like a vow. Hensley called her into ops as the sun turned the runway lights on. He pointed at a new page in the syllabus. We added your count technique and the half-move rule, he said. Put your name on it. Put the work on it, she said. He nodded. The work it is. He paused in the doorway. You did right in Arlington. You didn't give them a ghost to chase. You gave them something they can use. That's the job, she said. It is, he said, and left it there. Winter pushed down hard that week, then gave them a clear day as if to apologize. Cross took the first flight of students himself and came back with windburned cheeks and a grin that belonged to another decade. They're getting it, he said. Not the stories. The habits. Good, Dana said. They stood by the fence and watched Ava taxi out solo, a small jet with a whole sky to learn. Luke followed in the next block with hands almost calm. When the field went quiet, Dana walked the line. She ran a palm along cool aluminum and checked tie-downs without thinking. The ramp lights blinked their steady rhythm. The mountains held their dark edge. She thought about Midland. She thought about the highway. She thought about the ridge and the rotor and the moment she felt the student's fear and answered it with a count. None of it felt like legend. It felt like work done right when it needed doing. She drove home with the radio off and the window down a crack to let in air that smelled like snow and jet fumes, a mix she'd hated once and missed anyway. Bozeman was all small lights and quiet porches. She set the pendant on the table beside the yellow pad and wrote one more line under the others, teach it forward. She underlined it once. Before bed, she stepped out onto the small balcony and looked east where the runways would be if the street ran long enough. The night was cold and honest. A single jet moved miles away, too far for sound, just a white blink crossing black. She didn't make a promise to the sky. She didn't ask it for anything. She stood there and took one slow breath the way she told everyone else to do when their hands shook. In the morning she would brief, fly, debrief, fix the small things, and say no to noise. She would catch Luke before he yanked a correction. She would keep Ava's voice slow on final. She would change one more line in a checklist if the day taught her how. That was the shape of her life now. Not medals. Not headlines. Just a row of good decisions laid end to end until they reached the ground. She went inside, set an alarm, and turned off the light. The room held the kind of dark that doesn't threaten. It just waits. Out beyond the ridge, the taxiway lights would be ticking through the hours, steady, patient, unbothered by stories. She let her breathing match that rhythm. When sleep came, it came clean. And in the morning, the ramp would be cold and the jets would be ready, and Dana Whitmore would walk toward them with the same quiet answer she'd carried all along: breathe, then move.